I couldn't just be sick. I would like lay in bed and then I'd let the catastrophizing begin. My husband's going to be super upset with me. And like, how is he going to keep it all together? If they don't get the right jersey, they're never going to play again. And if they don't play again, then, they're going to turn to drugs and they're going to die.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. Hi, I'm Jen.
Hi, I'm Suzanne. Welcome, friend. So today we're going to talk about what it's like when Suzanne 1.0 was sick versus Suzanne 2.0 getting sick. Because there is a big difference.
Okay.
Which I'm so grateful for. But first, before we even get into this, I just want to take a minute because we had such a great breakfast at my house this morning. And I know this sounds random, but one of the things that I've really made note to do, and it's been really good for me, is like when something just ordinary happens in my house that I have helped cause, like, for example, having a calm breakfast where everyone was like joking around and laughing on a school day. There was nothing special about it, but it's just such a relaxed environment. And it's so different from the chaos from before. And so I just want to say, yay. It was so nice.
They're called glimmers.
Glimmers.
When you take, they're called glimmers. It's a thing.
Yes.
It's like taking and being thankful and joyful and noticing and aware when there's just something wonderful during the day.
I've heard of glimmers before, but I didn't actually know that that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, I love that.
Glimmers.
Yeah.
So, and I had a lot of glimmers in being sick. So unfortunately, right, I got the flu.
Glimmers in being sick, this should be good.
And there was actually things to be grateful for. So I think when you are a perfectionist like me, when in Suzanne 1.0, when I got the flu, which is what happened most recently and has obviously happened over the years, I would get this really like almost more nervous when I was sick because I was worried that my life was going to fall apart, right? Like if I'm sick and I'm not there to take care of my family and I'm not there to make sure everything's perfect and no one's uncomfortable and everyone has their uniform and their laundry and their lunch and all the things, that
the house of cards would come crumbling down.
That it would. And now I can look back and be like, oh, I was assigning my worth to what I did for my family. Right.
Okay.
So then, for example, I couldn't lay in bed. I couldn't just be sick. Instead, I needed to be
being productive and you were leaving everyone in the lurch and you were like, I'm assuming, because at least this is how I used to be as well.
100%.
Like you said, like, do they have the right jersey? Do they know they have to be there early for school today? Does he know it's late start today? Mental load, mom mental load.
And I think too, I had that like running commentary in my head about rest is not productive.
Oh yeah.
And I think so many other moms struggle with this, and especially when you're sick. So I would try to act like I wasn't sick. It was like, I didn't also want to inconvenience anyone else, right? Now, if anyone else in my family or life was sick, I'm the caring, nurturing person, like, hey, you stay in your room, let me bring you everything. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're sick. And yet when mom got sick, when I got sick, I would act like this little robot that, would go out and still try to pretend like everything was fine. And I look back now and I realize how unhealthy that was. Because one, I was bringing my germs out of the room and essentially spreading them to everyone, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, I was showing my family, like, I don't need to be cared for. I'm not sick. I'm a just mom robot, right? Like, don't worry about me, And then I'm going to note that I was also probably pretty resentful at the time. Like, no one takes care of me. What about when I'm sick?
100%. 100%. And I would say it was twofold, because you were teaching them that they didn't need to care for you when you were sick, because you just do everything. And you were also planting a seed of like, am I allowed to get sick and rest? And like, I mean, there was also like the unintentional of, even though you take care of them, they're like, oh, is that what adults do? Like, do they, like, are you not supposed to rest? Like, are you not supposed to stay home when you're sick? Or are you not supposed to rest? Or
yeah, like, what are you modeling?
Like, even if they don't understand it, there's like this like conflict in their minds, because you're saying one thing and then you're doing something totally different.
Well, and I think you just gave me a really good idea. I think we need to do a separate episode on how being sick impacts your family, right? Like, when I was acting that way, how it impacted my family. And they're both like, as we always talk about, like, that's another episode and that's another episode. And I think for this one, like, I want to stick with how I was feeling and like how it affected me. And I think that, you know, I would lay there. So like, finally, like, let's say I got everyone off to school, I would like lay in bed, and then I'd let the catastrophizing begin. And a friend, if you have not heard one of my favorite words ever, it is catastrophizing, where you take a situation such as I'm sick and you turn it into the worst possible scenario of things that occur.
The world is ending.
So the world is ending. Catastrophe is coming. So for example, when I lay in bed and I am quote unquote resting, which I will now argue I was not resting because my nervous system was going berserko, my thoughts were going berserko, was, you know, everyone's, you know, if they don't get the right jersey, they're never going to play again. And if they don't play again, then, you know, they're going to turn to drugs and they're going to die.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Like, something so insane.
Yeah.
But it's what happens in your brain. Like, those are the unconscious thoughts I would have. Or like, I would think like, my husband's going to be super upset with me. And like, how is he going to keep it all together? And, you know, he can't do this, this, and this. Now me, well, my husband, because you guys, friend, don't know him. He's very competent. He's very capable. He can take care of all the things. So again, they're not rational thoughts.
No.
But it's like that torrent of thoughts that just go through your brain. And then eventually, when I'd start feeling better, then I'd have this like overwhelming thought of, Suzanne, you need to get your life back in order, quote unquote, back in order as fast as possible. So you need to get, so like the to-do list so like I'm someone who has like, I put all of my thoughts into a to-do list. So they're just out of my brain. And then I take a look at them afterwards and say like, is this really like a necessity? Is this really something that would be productive? Or is this just me being busy? Right. I didn't have those distinctions previously. Instead, it was like, I need to do everything now. I need to respond to every client email. I need to disinfect our entire house. I need to, you know, do
it
all the
was
laundry.
basically like your few days that you were, I'm going to say, resting. Now you are like, oh, I need to make up. Like, so basically you're trying to take those 8 hours in the day. And then stack them on to your already, and I'm just saying 8 because a mom does not work 8 hours a day.
For sure.
Just for adding purposes and to make my point, you basically just took 20, let's just say it was 3 days. You took 24 hours and you're like, so on top of my already busy first day back, I'm just going to go ahead and add 24 hours that don't actually, so there's 32 hours worth of work to get done. It's like so self-sabotaging. And like you said, your worth is tied to all of this. So on top of the fact you're not even going to get to the tasks, you're setting yourself up for failure, which is just reinforcing that you're worthless.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
On top of that, I'd been worthless the 3 days that I had been out of commission.
Exactly.
Even though I've been trying to maintain all of the things, right? Like for the family and for myself and whatnot. And so I really feel like it made getting healthy so much more difficult. I think it took me longer. I think it took me longer to recover.
Of course.
And I also realized that, like you just said, like there's so much self-sabotage in the whole process. Like from the
Yeah.
beginning of
Oh, yeah.
rest isn't productive to, you know, well, your family can't function without you, to
Mhm.
I need to get back to my to-do list. And
And
I
let's
just
not forget the resentment because nobody was taking care of you. Like, don't forget the whole flip side when you come all the way around the circle of shame and then you hate your whole family because no one's taking care of you, even though you've told everyone to go piss off, for lack of better words.
fair,
You got this.
fair. Yeah, it's totally
So
fair.
now you're mad at everyone, but
Yeah,
feeling bad.
yeah,
It's like full
yeah,
crazy town.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mhm.
And yet I know so many moms that I've talked with that this is also their normal. Like,
Oh, it's
this
totally
is
normal.
what we are somehow raised to believe is important.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's until we really started to stop and like figure out what 2.0 wanted
Mhm.
that we started to realize, like, oh, maybe there's a different way to go about this. Like, if I want to feel happier in my life in general, I'm going to continue to get sick as I get older. Like, unfortunately, that's not going to change.
No.
And so, how can we do things differently? And so, one of the main things that especially if you're a gold star chaser like moi, who is a perfectionist and really wants like those dopamine hits, it's really hard to rest.
Yes.
And the mindset shift that
Yes.
was so important to me
Mhm.
was that rest is productive. Because once
Yes.
I got it
It's
in
like
my
a core
head,
premise. It is a core
yes,
premise, and you should say it again. Rest is productive. We'll say it another way. Rest is not a reward. We'll say it another
yeah,
way. Rest is not a luxury. Like, we could go on and on and on and on and on, and we will have multiple episodes about rest. But I just wanted to really drive that home because it literally is like I don't know, like the cornerstone of this episode, even though it's about the flu
yeah,
and like how you changed. Like, I feel like that's the most important thing to get out of this entire
yeah,
episode.
it is.
And
It is because,
and then how it changed. So how did it change now that you're like, okay, I'm sick, I must rest?
yeah. And I want to also say, like, the reason we're going to talk about rest in other episodes is it's the cornerstone of life. Like,
Oh yeah.
it is an important part of life, but especially when you're sick. So in
Yes.
Suzanne 2.0, and the way that I
Yes.
changed, when I had it in my head that, okay, I've shifted and now I understand that rest is productive. It empowered me that when I was laying there, it was like, okay, you're okay. Because those thoughts, they didn't stop coming in of
No.
Suzanne, you're lazy. Suzanne, your family needs you. Suzanne, your
You
family
could
can't
get
live
up and make
without
breakfast.
you.
You
Yeah.
could get up and make sure everybody's okay. You could technically take the kids to school or pick up, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I could.
Yeah. And it's all those little things. Like, it's not going to take that much energy out of you.
Yeah.
And it's such
Yeah.
like a example of so many other things, right, that we talk about. But when you have that core premise, like by having that thought in my head that no, rest is productive, it's like I could fight against the other thoughts that I had in my head. So when they would come in, I'd be like, no, that's not true. Or like, no, my family, like, I've done this enough now. My family manages without me. Like, my
Yeah.
husband's capable.
Yeah.
My house will get cleaned. And then that
Yeah.
takes me to, okay, now I'm starting to feel better. And this was something unique to this particular flu was thought I was feeling better. So I told my husband I can take my son to practice. Well, as you know, I took him to practice and I spiked another fever. And I was like, oh, this is so frustrating. So even though I felt better, my old self 1.0 would have been like, oh, well, I just need to sit here. Like, I already made this commitment. I can't, what am I supposed to do? And instead, I called my husband and I'm like, hey, I was going to stay around, but I just spiked another fever. I feel terrible. I just want to go home and get in bed. And you know what happened? He said, of course, sweetie. Please go take care of yourself. I told you shouldn't have gone out in the first place, but you said you were feeling better. I'm like, because I legitimately thought I was feeling better. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which he was entitled to.
Totally.
And I didn't go out thinking like, oh, I just need to go do this. I really, truly thought I was feeling better. And then that was not the case. So in any event, I asked for help from my husband. Mm-hmm. And I went home and I got back.
Wrong.
Yes. Went and got back in bed.
Thing. Yep.
And slept again. And basically slept until the next morning at like 9:00. And I woke up and there's no one at my house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? What's going on? And again, I realized, oh, everyone took care of themselves.
Everyone
fine. Survived. Yeah. We're all going to be okay. And it was just further evidence, and I keep getting more and more evidence, is the rest is productive. I was able to get healthy. I was able to feel better. And then when I did, for a second time, start feeling better, then I had to start worrying about my to-do list, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so now the difference is, and instead of just saying I have to get, those 36 hours extra plus everything else I have, I really look at my list and I'm like, what is a necessity? Like, what has to happen? And I pick a few things that has to happen. Like, one thing I do like to do is like wash all my towels, maybe wash my sheets. Like, those are important things to me. Like, that's
a priority after a sickness. Yeah.
Yes. And then like, okay, maybe there's like 2 personal emails I need to respond to and a couple work emails. That was it. Like, check in with my kids. That was it. And I cannot tell you the difference in the way I feel about how much more rested I come into it. And like, I'm ready to deal with life. And before, it would just be like, I was already headed down another cliff.
It was just a continuation of
the exhaustion to burnout. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
I mean, you were just like this.
Yep. Yeah. So in wrapping up today, in the takeaway, friend, if you take away anything, I know Jen said it 17 times. I also said it 17 times. We can say it again. Rest is productive. It is important. Yes. So make sure that you take care of yourself. The world will continue to revolve and it will continue to go. Don't worry about it, but just make sure that you take care of yourself, because that's going to get you back to your life sooner than later. And sickness is going to happen one way or the other. So rest is productive.
I love it. So I think what our question to the listener would be is, how do you talk to yourself when you're sick? Are you a mom martyr, or
possibly a 1.0, a 2.0,
3.0? Some of us are like well into the double, triple digits. That's it for today.
We hope you discovered something in my story.
See you next time. Same place, same sisterhood.
Bye.